She was the face of innocence, a superstar actress whose pure on-screen image made her one of China's most beloved figures. Zheng Shuang had it all: fame, fortune, and a fairy tale romance with a successful producer. But behind the scenes, a dark story was unfolding, one involving secret surrogacies, a bitter breakup, and a shocking desire to abandon her own children. This is the story of how a national idol's career was annihilated by a scandal that exposed the chilling reality behind the fiction. For more deep dives into the stories that rock the entertainment world, subscribe to our channel. It began as many modern celebrity tales do, under the bright, artificial lights of a television studio. In 2018, Zheng Shuang was one of China's most adored actresses, a figure of almost ethereal innocence, whose on-screen purity had captured the hearts of millions. Zhang Heng was a successful producer, a man behind the scenes who knew how to make things happen. They met on the set of a variety show called This Is Fighting Robots, a world of clashing metal and competitive energy that seemed an unlikely backdrop for a fairy tale romance. Yet, a romance is what blossomed. By August of that year, they were a public couple, their relationship a fixture in entertainment news. Theirs was a whirlwind affair, a fusion of personal affection and professional ambition. They didn't just date, they went into business together, launching a company that further entwined their lives and fortunes. To the public, they seemed like a power couple in the making, a perfect blend of star power and production savvy. Soon, their ambitions turned toward family. They wanted children, but according to the narrative that would later emerge, the rigors of Zheng's acting career and concerns for her health made a traditional pregnancy seem daunting. So, they turned to a solution that was both modern and, in their home country, deeply controversial: surrogacy. In 2019, they traveled to the United States, a country where the practice was legal and regulated, and set their plan in motion. The process was a success. Before long, 2 separate surrogate mothers in 2 different states were pregnant with their children, a boy and a girl. The dream of a family was becoming a reality, a testament to their love and their modern approach to life. But as these 2 new lives grew, the relationship that was meant to nurture them was quietly falling apart. The foundation of their fairy tale was cracking under pressures the public couldn't see. By the end of 2019, it had shattered completely. Before either of the children were born, Zheng Shuang and Zhang Heng broke up. The partnership was dissolved, the romance was over, but the consequences of their shared dream were still months away from arriving. The situation was a tangled mess of legal and emotional obligations, a ticking clock counting down to the birth of 2 children into a family that no longer existed. For over a year, the drama remained private, a secret known only to the couple and their inner circle. The public knew they had split, another celebrity romance that had run its course, but they had no idea about the 2 lives hanging in the balance an ocean away. Then, in January 2021, the bomb went off. Zhang Heng, who had all but disappeared from public life, posted a shocking message on the Chinese social media platform Weibo. He explained his silence, revealing that he was not in hiding, but had been stranded in the United States for more than a year. The reason, he wrote, was that he had to take care of and protect 2 young and innocent lives. He attached a photo of himself holding 2 small children. The internet erupted in confusion. Whose children were they? The answer came swiftly as Zhang and his friends began leaking documents, including birth certificates from Colorado and Nevada. The mother's name on both was listed as Shuang Zheng. The revelation that one of China's biggest stars had 2 secret children born via surrogacy would have been a scandal in itself. But what came next turned a celebrity drama into a national moral crisis. Zhang Heng released audio recordings of conversations that allegedly took place in 2019, after the couple had broken up, but while the surrogates were still pregnant. The voices on the recording Purportedly those of Zheng Shuang and her parents were not filled with concern for the unborn children, but with frustration and panic. They discussed what to do about the problem. They talked about pressuring the surrogate mothers into having abortions, even though they were already 7 months along. Zheng's father could be heard suggesting they abandon the children at the hospital. Her mother chimed in, proposing they give the children away for adoption. But it was Zheng Shuang's own voice that delivered the most chilling line, a moment of raw, unfiltered frustration that would come to define the entire scandal, complaining about the impossibility of abortion at such a late stage. Her voice rises in a whine of pure exasperation. "The children really cannot be aborted," she says, her tone not one of relief, but of profound irritation. "I am annoyed to death." That single phrase became a lightning rod for public fury. It was a shocking sentiment, a complete rejection of maternal instinct that stood in stark opposition to the sweet, caring characters she had built her career on. The woman who played the resilient heroine, the loyal girlfriend, and the girl next door was, in her own words, annoyed by the existence of her own unborn children. The fairy tale had officially become a nightmare, and the fall of Zheng Shuang had begun. The explosion of the audio recordings was not just a spark. It was a detonation that leveled an entire career in a matter of hours. The phrase, "I am annoyed to death," echoed across the Chinese internet, a digital wildfire consuming the carefully constructed persona of Zheng Shuang. Public condemnation was swift, merciless, and absolute. Weibo, the social media platform where she had millions of adoring followers, became a forum for her trial by public opinion, and the verdict was unanimous. Users who had once praised her innocent beauty and relatable charm now expressed disgust and horror. The scandal transcended typical celebrity gossip. It touched on fundamental questions of morality, parental responsibility, and the sanctity of life, all amplified by the illegal nature of surrogacy within China. It was a perfect storm of ethical outrage, and Zheng Shuang was at its center. The backlash was not confined to the digital mob. The Chinese government and its powerful regulatory bodies, which act as the moral guardians of the nation's entertainment industry, moved with astonishing speed. Official state media outlets published scathing editorials denouncing her actions as a complete disregard for life and a violation of public morals. This was not just a critique, it was a judgment. The China Television Artists Association, a powerful industry guild, released a statement effectively blacklisting her, ordering a complete halt to providing her with any platform to appear on screen. The message was clear. She was persona non grata. Her career was not just on hold, it was over. The corporate world, which had once clamored for her endorsement, now fled as if she were radioactive. The luxury brand Prada, which had triumphantly announced her as its new ambassador just 9 days before the scandal broke, became a case study in crisis management. They severed ties with her almost immediately, a high-profile severing that set the tone for everyone else. Other brands followed in a cascading domino effect of abandonment. Her face vanished from advertisements, and more devastatingly, her work began to disappear from the cultural landscape. Streaming platforms received directives to pull her television shows and films. Years of work, including blockbuster dramas that had defined her career, were scrubbed from the internet, leaving a digital ghost town where a superstar's legacy used to be. It was a thorough and systematic erasure from public life. As the court of public opinion rendered its verdict, a literal court of law convened an ocean away in Denver, Colorado. The drama shifted from social media posts and leaked recordings to legal filings and courtroom testimony. The custody battle for their 2 children began, a bitter and complex fight layered with accusations and cultural misunderstandings. Zheng Heng's legal team painted him as the stable and loving parent, who had been single-handedly caring for the children since their birth. He was present, he was responsible, and he was trying to create a life for them amidst the chaos his ex-partner had created. Zheng Shuang's side attempted a desperate campaign of damage control. She appeared in court, trying to project an image of a remorseful mother who simply wanted to be a part of her children's lives. Her lawyers argued that her initial comments were made in a moment of emotional distress and did not reflect her true feelings. They spoke of mental health struggles and the immense pressure she was under. Yet, her behavior during the proceedings often seemed to undermine her own case. Reports from the courtroom described her as emotionally volatile and at times disconnected, famously showing the judge a photo of her hair to prove she was balding from stress, a bizarre gesture that did little to inspire confidence in her stability. While this was happening in America, another legal war was raging back in China. The two were simultaneously suing each other over financial disputes, a bitter fight over a multi-million-dollar loan that added another layer of toxicity to their shattered relationship. They were fighting over their children and their money at the same time. A two-front war born from a romance that had curdled into pure animosity. In May 2021, the US court finally delivered its decision. Citing concerns over Zheng Shuang's mental stability, the judge granted Zhang Heng sole custody of both children. She was not completely cut off. She was given extensive visitation rights, but the ruling was a clear victory for Zhang. He was legally recognized as the primary caregiver, the one responsible for their future. The battle for the children had a winner, but the war between their parents was far from over, with its consequences still rippling outwards. The legal defeat in a Colorado courtroom was a devastating blow, but it was merely one theater in a rapidly expanding war. Just as the dust was settling on the custody battle, the ground gave way to an even bigger chasm beneath Zheng Shuang's feet. The intense public and governmental scrutiny that the surrogacy scandal had ignited was now unearthing other secrets from her time at the top. The whispers started among her critics and were amplified by her now avowed enemy, Zhang Heng, who began leaking information suggesting financial misconduct. These weren't just the bitter accusations of an ex-lover. They were claims of systematic, large-scale tax evasion, a crime the Chinese government takes with deadly seriousness. An official investigation was launched, and what it uncovered was a textbook case of celebrity greed. The scheme was centered around what are known as yin-yang contracts, a common but highly illegal practice in the Chinese film industry, designed to deceive tax authorities. An actress like Zheng Shuang would be issued 2 contracts for a single project. The yin contract, with a much smaller, modest salary, would be submitted to the government for tax purposes. The yang contract, containing the true astronomical figure, would be paid secretly, often through shell companies or other obscure channels. The investigation focused on her work for the series, A Chinese Ghost Story, where she was found to have hidden the bulk of her earnings. In August 2021, the verdict from the Shanghai Municipal Tax Service was delivered. It was a financial death sentence. Zheng Shuang was ordered to pay a staggering 299 million yuan, the equivalent of roughly 46 million US dollars, in back taxes, late fees, and massive fines. Zhang Heng was not spared either. As her agent at the time, he was found to be a key facilitator of the scheme and was hit with his own substantial fine for complicity. This revelation of calculated fraud cemented her public downfall. It was one thing to be seen as a callous and irresponsible partner, but it was another entirely to be exposed as a criminal who had deliberately cheated the state. The scandal had now morphed from a moral failing into a legal one, stripping away any last shred of public sympathy she might have retained. The financial penalty was designed not just to punish, but to obliterate, ensuring she could never again amass the kind of wealth that had enabled her lifestyle. She was later placed on China's official list of dishonest persons, a modern-day digital stocks and pillory. This designation comes with severe real-world consequences, restricting her from high-end consumption, first-class travel, and securing loans, effectively making her a financial outcast in her own country. The true depth of the tragedy, however, lies in the chasm between the person revealed by the scandals and the characters she so convincingly portrayed. Her career was built on an image of innocence, resilience, and unwavering moral fiber, an image now exposed as a complete fabrication. Her breakthrough role was in Meteor Shower, China's answer to the classic Boys Over Flowers. In it, she played Chu Yushun, a fiercely independent and righteous girl from a poor family who stands up to a clique of wealthy, arrogant bullies. She was a symbol of integrity and strength, a hero who would never compromise her principles for money or status. The public adored this character, and by extension, they adored the actress they believed embodied her spirit. How could the girl who played Chu Yushun, a champion of the underdog, be the same person who conspired to hide millions from the public good, and who spoke with such chilling annoyance about her own unborn children? Then, there was her role as Bai Weiwei in the mega-hit drama Love 020. Bai Weiwei was the perfect modern heroine, a brilliant computer science major, a top-ranked online gamer, and a young woman of immense kindness and loyalty. Her character was celebrated for her intelligence and her unwavering moral compass. She navigated the complexities of university life and virtual worlds with a grace and integrity that made her an aspirational figure for a generation of viewers. The actress who brought this paragon of virtue to life was now known as a tax cheat and was embroiled in a custody battle that questioned her fundamental fitness as a mother. The loyalty and genuine connection that her character, Bai Weiwei, treasured above all else seemed to have no place in the real-life drama of her own creation. Perhaps most poignantly, in the drama River Flows to You, she played Yi Yao, a character who endures a relentless series of personal tragedies and emotional hardships. Yi Yao's life is one of suffering, but she perseveres, embodying a spirit of tragic endurance that was meant to evoke empathy and admiration. The irony was devastating. Zheng Shuang, who had professionally performed suffering on screen, was now faced with real, self-inflicted suffering of an unimaginable scale. Yet, the public empathy that flowed so freely for her fictional character had completely evaporated for the real person. The resilience she acted out on screen was replaced by a reality of poor decisions and a shocking lack of foresight. The public felt duped, as if the virtues they admired had been nothing more than a costume she wore for the cameras. The sense of betrayal was profound, because she hadn't just sold them a story. She had sold them an identity that turned out to be hollow. Today, the aftermath is a quiet, desolate landscape. Zheng Shuang is a pariah in China, her name synonymous with scandal. She is unable to work, crushed by debt, and living a life of public shame, occasionally surfacing on social media to post cryptic messages or claims of poverty. Zheng Heng, for his part, won custody but lost his career and reputation. While he positions himself as a dedicated single father on social media, he remains inextricably linked to the scandal. Forever, the man who exposed one of China's biggest stars and was fined for his role in her crimes. He is raising two children who will one day learn the full, bizarre story of their own conception and the public war that defined their parents' relationship. There is no redemption arc in sight for either of them. The fairy tale romance that started under the bright studio lights ended in a scorched earth campaign of mutual destruction, leaving behind only debt, disgrace, and a shattered family. It stands as the ultimate cautionary tale in the age of celebrity, a stark reminder that the carefully curated image on the screen can sometimes mask a reality that is far darker, messier, and more tragically human than any fictional drama could ever portray. Today, the dust has settled on a battlefield of ruined lives. Zheng Shuang is a cautionary tale, an outcast in her own country, buried under debt and disgrace. Zheng Heng, the victor in the custody battle, remains the man who ignited the firestorm, his own career tarnished by association. In the middle of it all are two young children, the innocent legacy of a love story that ended in mutual destruction. What lessons can be learned from this tragic fall? Let us know your thoughts in the comments and be sure to subscribe for more compelling stories.